OK, we're hearing for the first time from Arne Slot since his departure from Liverpool at the...
On today's edition of Anfield Uncovered, Liverpool's decision to sack Arne Slot shocked the football world. But what if I told you it had absolutely nothing to do with Mohamed Salah, nothing to do with dressing room unrest, and nothing to do with one disastrous result? Because according to fresh reports, Liverpool's hierarchy became convinced that something far more dangerous was happening behind the scenes. Something that made them believe the club was heading toward a much bigger crisis. And the most surprising part? The warning signs had reportedly been building for months. Today, we're breaking down the real reason Liverpool decided to pull the trigger, why Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes lost faith in the project, and the emotional message that Ibrahima Konaté has now sent to supporters after officially leaving Anfield. Trust me, Reds, the details that have emerged are genuinely surprising. But before we get into all of that, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to Anfield Uncovered, and turn on notifications so you never miss any Liverpool updates. Now let's get straight into it, because despite winning the Premier League during his time at Anfield, reports now suggest Liverpool's decision-makers had become increasingly concerned about the direction of the team. According to The Athletic's James Pearce, the club's end-of-season review uncovered a growing fear that keeping Arne Slot in charge could actually create an even bigger problem in the future. And that is the key point here. This wasn't a reaction to one bad result. It wasn't one argument. It wasn't one mistake. Instead, confidence in Slot reportedly disappeared gradually over several months. Behind the scenes, sporting director Richard Hughes and FSG football chief Michael Edwards became increasingly worried by what they were seeing. Not just results, but the overall identity of the team. The intensity, the energy, the style of football, and perhaps most importantly, the direction Liverpool appeared to be heading. According to reports, one of the biggest warning signs came from Anfield itself. Because supporters were becoming increasingly frustrated with Liverpool's cautious style of play. What had once been a team feared across Europe for its relentless attacking football had become a side many fans described as predictable, passive, and difficult to watch. And during the closing weeks of the season, that frustration reportedly became impossible to ignore. Some supporters even voiced their disapproval during matches. For Liverpool's hierarchy, this was a major concern, because they feared that if they stayed loyal to Slot and the next season started badly, the situation could quickly spiral out of control. Fan unrest would grow. Pressure would intensify. And by that point, many of the elite managerial candidates currently available would already be gone. According to James Pearce, Liverpool's board became convinced they needed to act before reaching that stage. Interestingly, reports insist that Slot's tensions with Mohamed Salah were not the deciding factor. Despite all the headlines throughout the season, Liverpool's hierarchy reportedly focused on something much bigger. The recurring issues that simply never seemed to improve. Slow starts. Late goals conceded. Fitness concerns. A lack of tactical flexibility. And repeated problems that continued appearing week after week. The club reportedly became frustrated that solutions were not being found. Even Slot's post-match explanations began losing credibility internally. His frequent references to low blocks and defensive opponents failed to convince many people. Instead, the question became simple. If Liverpool knew what the problems were, why were the same problems continuing every week? One match in particular reportedly stood out. Liverpool's 1-1 draw against Chelsea. After taking the lead, Liverpool retreated. Instead of pushing forward, they sat back. And the reaction inside Anfield was immediate. Supporters were frustrated. The disconnect between fans and the football being played became impossible to ignore. According to reports, there was no single breaking point. No explosive moment. No dramatic fallout. Just a gradual loss of belief. Internal analysis reportedly showed very little evidence that Liverpool's ongoing weaknesses would naturally improve. And that eventually led decision-makers to one conclusion: change was necessary. Not because things were terrible, but because they feared things were about to become terrible. That distinction is incredibly important. Liverpool didn't sack Arne Slot because they believed the present was broken. They sacked him because they feared the future would become even worse if they waited. And that reportedly explains why Andoni Iraola is now expected to arrive at Anfield. The Bournemouth manager has built a reputation for aggressive, high-intensity football. The kind of football many Liverpool supporters associate with the club's modern identity, the kind of football Jurgen Klopp made famous at Anfield. And Liverpool's hierarchy reportedly believe Iraola can restore that identity. Whether he succeeds remains to be seen. But one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Liverpool's decision was months in the making. Now, while supporters are still processing Slot's departure, another emotional story has emerged. Because Ibrahima Konaté has finally spoken after officially leaving Liverpool. And his farewell message has left many fans heartbroken. After weeks of uncertainty, Konaté's exit has now been confirmed following the collapse of contract negotiations. The French defender leaves Anfield after 5 years at the club. During that time, he made 183 appearances, won 5 major trophies, and established himself as one of Liverpool's most important defenders. But it was one sentence in his farewell message that immediately grabbed attention. Because Konaté revealed that he never got the opportunity to properly say goodbye. Writing directly to Liverpool supporters, he admitted he had no idea his final appearance at Anfield would be his last. "Dear Liverpool," he began. "5 years ago, I arrived as a young player with big dreams. Today, I leave with memories that will stay with me for the rest of my life." The defender reflected on the highs and lows of his Liverpool career. The trophies, the challenges, the difficult moments, including the devastating loss of former teammate Diogo. He also opened up about losing his father this year. A personal tragedy that made an already difficult period even harder. Yet throughout everything, he insisted his commitment to Liverpool never changed. But then came the emotional revelation. "I am deeply saddened that I didn't get the chance to say goodbye to all of you at the last game," Konaté wrote. "At that moment, I didn't know it would be my final time wearing this shirt in front of you." And honestly, Reds, that statement hits hard. Because there was still genuine belief after Liverpool's final game that a new contract could eventually be agreed. Many supporters expected Konaté to remain one of the leaders of Liverpool's next generation. Instead, negotiations collapsed. And suddenly his Liverpool career was over. When Konaté was substituted late against Brentford, he received a warm reception from supporters. But nobody inside Anfield knew it would be the final time they would see him wearing Liverpool red. Not the fans. And perhaps not even Konaté himself. Now the defender has officially closed the chapter. Thanking supporters. Thanking teammates. Thanking everyone connected to the club, before announcing it is time for a new challenge and a new chapter in his career. Whether Liverpool decide to organise a formal farewell remains unclear. But one thing is certain. Konaté's departure leaves a huge hole in Liverpool's defence. And replacing him will now become one of the biggest priorities of the summer transfer window. So Reds, what do you think? Did Liverpool make the right decision by sacking Arne Slot before things became worse? And how big of a loss will Ibrahima Konaté be for the club moving forward? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to Anfield Uncovered, and turn on notifications so you never miss any Liverpool updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.